So I think we'll start with just a little intro. So myself, I live in Adelaide, South Australia. I've been selling on Amazon for 2 years now. And in that time, I've built a multi-six-figure brand consisting of 3 different products. I'm working on a few different other products at the moment. And I am passionate about entrepreneurship and e-commerce in general. And yeah, excited for today's training.
Awesome. I'm from the Gold Coast, so you've got 2 Aussies on today's call, and I've been selling on Amazon for 2 years. Before that, it was Shopify, and I've probably got about 60 SKUs on there at the moment, and I'm about to launch a second brand. So it's all systems go. Yeah, it's all happening. And my role at ZonGuru is I do a lot of the content creation as well. So I really enjoy hearing what you guys like, what you want to know more about, so that I can really tailor what we're putting out there to match what you need. And for those of you just checking in and haven't tried ZonGuru before, this is a great experience to actually see the tools in action. So you can get a taste of it. We've opened today's training up to everybody. So what we do is we usually run through a program of what we're going to cover, but then at the end, it's a live Q&A. So if you have any questions or anything about not just the ZonGuru tools, but Amazon in general, we do try and help where we can. It's a community of sellers, so it really helps to have those people to lean on and ask questions to, because we all know it's not, it's an ever-changing world.
Absolutely.
Cool. So by the looks of it, it's a pretty even spread between, we've got a few
on the trial, we've got a few that are already users, a few newbies. So great.
I like it.
Yeah, we've got a diversified spread today.
Yeah. And with the questions, we do like to save them to the end. Of course, feel free to pop them in the chat as we go, but if we don't give it attention right then and there, it will definitely be covered at the end. Mm-hmm. And we just ask for general respect, both towards us and everybody else in the chat room. So feel free to help other users out if you do see questions come up. It's a real team effort. So I might end the poll now. Yep. And we'll get stuck into the tools.
Yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay, so can we all see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. I'll just switch back to the chat. So this is our niche finder tool, and you'll find this one under the product research menu. And it's the first one here, and it really is going to be your favorite tool for generating niche ideas. So a niche, and you probably hear this term thrown around quite a lot when you're looking at the Amazon world. A niche is basically your selling category, your product area. So you're not looking at it in terms of a really per product approach. It's like a selling category approach, if that makes sense. So you can see up here there's an easy mode and an advanced mode option. The easy mode is really fun to play around with if you're just starting out and you're wanting to get a feel for how this tool works. You can see that there's already preset filters that are set for different business types. So if you're just starting out, Easy Starter is going to be your best bet. It's for people with smaller budgets looking for their first product. And then you've got your business builder. It's probably someone who already has a product on Amazon and they're looking for that next one. And then your big hitter is those more experienced sellers. They've probably got a much larger budget to play with. You can simply click on the filter that suits you and hit search. And the ZonGuru platform will come back with a whole list of niche ideas for you. You can narrow it down to a selling category. But I won't dwell on the easy mode too much because my favorite by far and away is the advanced mode option. And don't be put off by the name advanced. It doesn't mean that you need to be an advanced seller or an advanced user. All it means is that it gives you full customization on how you use the tool. So you can see here instantly there's so many more filter options. It's actually quite mind-boggling how granular you can get with what you're looking for. So if I start at the top, I've actually pre-selected 5 selling categories that interest me, and I haven't gone the typical ones. So I've chosen automotive, musical instruments, patio, lawn and garden, pet supplies, and tools and home improvement. So a little bit more obscure. That's just what I felt like doing today. And that's the power of this tool, where you can really put things out there and see what comes back. So we've got our general filters over here, which I haven't played around with too much. I want to keep a really wide net in terms of what niches come back. But if I wanted to, I could definitely, just by sliding it up and down, specify, what kind of level of buyer demand am I interested in my category? What is my revenue that I'm looking for? All sorts of filters here. So the niche score is the ZonGuru basic overall assessment of a niche. And Eric's going to go into this in a little bit more detail later. But basically, the higher the niche score number, the more attractive the niche. So I've just said I would like to look at niches above 55. And over here is where I've got a bit more detailed about what I'm looking for. So remember, the idea of this tool is to generate ideas. And I don't want to be given ideas that don't meet, maybe my launch budget I've got here, maximum $15,000. I don't want to be given ideas that cost $40,000 to launch, because there's a disconnect there. I might start investing time and resources into something that's not viable for where I am in my business. So for this example, I've capped it at 15,000. And I've also said I'm looking for a niche that has search volume of at least 4,000 a month and average revenue of a minimum of 10,000 a month. So they're quite conservative filters. If you were more of the big hitter, you could say, I want average revenue of at least 25,000 to make it worth my while. Or if you're just starting out and you've just got a little bit of spare change to start something new, you could definitely drop all these down even further. So it's really customizable. There's no fixed approach. It's going to depend person by person, their own experience, their own appetite for risk, and what they're wanting to get out of setting up on Amazon. So you can see here the other filters I've filled in is the average price. I've set that at 20. Again, usually with average price, the higher the better, because certain things start eating into your profit margins. So if you're advertising through what's called PPC and you have a small product price point, you can quickly find that those advertising costs eat into your margins. So the higher the price point, the more room there is to spend on things like advertising. So that's why I've got it at 20, and I don't have to probably sell as much to make a profit as what I would if my price point was only $5. So the higher that is, generally the better as well. And average rating, so I've said here, I want an average of 500 as the maximum. I'm not too worried about this metric, because to me, competition, although it's important, if I create an amazing product that is different and grabs people's attention, the ratings don't make or break. People shop with their eyes. If I'm differentiated, I'm selling something that they want, it meets a need that nobody else is doing, the ratings don't come into play as much. Any words you want to put in there, Eric, for the filters?
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm keen to see these results.
Yeah, so, and the other thing that I've been using lately when I'm on this tool is the include and exclude keywords. So this time of year, you can see a lot of seasonal products come through, which can kind of clog up your search results, and it just creates a lot of noise. I'm not interested in selling Christmas goods or Halloween items or things like that. So you can see I've just put in 4 keywords that I don't want to see in my niche. So Christmas, COVID, mask, Halloween. And what Niche Finder will do is they'll exclude any niches that contain those keywords. But you can obviously add as many as you want in there, or include keywords, which is helpful because if you're selling in a niche that you like or understand, you've already got a leg up over the competition. You generally know your niche, you know your product, you're probably your own ideal customer, so you know how to market to them, what language they like, what images are really going to grab their attention. So, for example, if I was a yoga nut, I could put yoga in here and refine it to find a product that I really like. So, but I've left that blank because I want to see what actually comes up. So it's a matter of hitting search. And this is how it appears. And you can see that you've got the niche keyword here, as well as the niche score. Remember, that's your overall value of the niche. Buyer demand, which is pretty obvious, competition, investment, and revenue potential. So Eric will go through these a bit more, but what I wanted to show you is the amount of detail that you can actually see on each niche and the quality of the niches that are coming through. So remember, I selected a pretty random list of categories. So I'm going to have a really diverse list of keywords that come through.
And just one thing as well, look how many results there are. If you scroll down, Kim,
it just keeps going.
An abundance of ideas here. You can load more. There's just so many different niches that you can look into. The more you click on, the more ideas you're going to generate. And it might be worth also showing Kim how to favorite.
Absolutely.
If you like them.
Yeah. So this isn't all the data you'll see as well. You'll see, say, if I just look at the first one, horse blanket, if I click on it, it expands and it gives me so many more data points. So you've got things like, so there were the overall categories we looked at before, but then it gives me the search volume, the average search volume per month, the average sales, the average price of products in this niche, the average ratings. It just keeps going and going and going. So the idea of this tool, if just continually looping back to its purpose, is to generate niche ideas, to try and help you find that next winning product. So if you're in here and you like the look of it, you can quite clearly see if there's any red flags that may not make this niche worthwhile. So you don't waste time and you can keep going and on to the next one. But looking at this one, so it's got launch budget. It's under my 15K launch budget that I set. The ratings are quite low on average. The price point is really attractive to me because I know that there's enough room in there that I can really dial up my advertising. I'm going to probably have quite a healthy profit margin on this. I can see what category it's in. The average listing strength refers to how well the competitors are listing their products. Do they have great quality images? Are they utilizing all their listing space? Are they really making an effort? So 4.1 is not that great, which makes me think that there's a lot of room in this niche for someone to come in and do it well. The PPC bid price, so that refers to what I was talking about before with the advertising spend. So PPC stands for pay per click. So you're basically in a bidding situation where you say, when someone jumps on Amazon and types in horse blanket, that's the cost people are paying to have their product show on page one. If someone clicks on it, that's what they're charged. But you're paying for that front and center shelf space, basically, to get in front of people. And if you've got a great listing, you're more likely to convert on those sales, and it actually becomes quite a great way to really up your sales and start ranking organically. Because remember, Amazon's there to make money. If they see that your product's selling well and converting, they will reward you for that and start placing you there organically over time. So it is important to have a look at that, and it flows into the bigger picture of selling onto Amazon. So there's a lot of information here, but what I really like about Niche Finder is that it visually shows you what people are doing in that category. So horse blanket, it's obviously probably a seasonal product going into winter in the Northern Hemisphere. The one that really stands out to me is the American flag one that pops off the page. But there's also a lot of other ways I can think of that would differentiate in this niche. They all seem to be blue. You know, what if there was there's young girls who like horses, maybe a pink one with some rainbows on it. Like, you've got to think of who your target customer is and give them exactly what they want. Yeah, so those visuals help as well when you're not sure what a product is. So pool pillow.
Let's sorry to cut you off, Kim. So we've got Ian who's asking, is this US or AU? So currently the Niche Finder is fully functional for the US market, and we are releasing the Australian update of this tool in mid-January. Is that right, Kim?
Yes, we are. So it was scheduled to be released this month, and it was something that we still are so excited about. But something that we like to do at ZonGuru is make sure that our data is accurate and the best that we can provide to our user base. So what we're doing at the moment is we're really putting the tools for Australia and Europe through its paces and making sure that it absolutely delivers.
So we're almost there. So currently we're looking at the American market today, but we're almost there for Australia and all the other markets, guys.
Yeah, and trust me, I'll be shouting it from the rooftops because especially in Australia, it's such an evolving marketplace, and I think there's so much opportunity for people to get in at that ground level. Awesome stuff. So Pool Pillow, for example, just being able to expand that and visually see what it is I'm looking at. And I don't know why they're all blue. I might be missing something there, but such an easy way to differentiate just in that one. And again, all the data is there. So, you know, what the average revenue is. This keyword $ one, if you're not sure what any of them mean, you can see that goes to a question mark. If you hover over it, it will tell you what that metric is. It's basically telling me that the estimated combined monthly revenue for the top 25 listings is 51,000 US, which is quite good for a plastic inflatable pillow. It's not.
Yeah, right.
You know, that one's quite impressive. And that's the power of this tool. So you never quite know what you're going to find. And if you try to do a product research without this, it would be like finding a needle in a haystack. You don't have the data points. You wouldn't be exposed to ideas that you wouldn't otherwise have. It really is a massive time saver. And once you like one, so for example, lampshades, that's a product I do know what it is. If I liked the look of it, these 3 dots in the right-hand corner, I can just click on the little star icon and it will save it to my favorites. And I can come back at any stage and have a look at that without having to rerun a session. So my data's there. It's you can quickly curate a list of 5, 10, 20 ideas and then start refining and validating your ideas from there. So the other options are to open it straight on the Chrome extension or send it to another tool in the ZonGuru suite, because remember, they're all connected. It's a process, and this is your idea generation hub. So finding that next perfect product, this is what does the heavy lifting for you. Yeah. I might stop sharing my screen now. And lets you look at some of the items we favorited.
So I'll go ahead and share. Cool. All good on your end?
All good.
Awesome. So within the niche finder, you saw Kim, she favorited that one product. So by clicking favorites at the top here, you can see these are all products that we've gone ahead and favorited. So we're going to be looking at a few different, or we're going to give you guys the option to choose what you want us to look at in the Google Chrome extension. So do you want to run the poll now, Kimberly?
I will. Let me just jump in. So we did find quite a few, but we've narrowed it down to our favorite 3, but there's a few more in there we just wanted to point out to show how crazy some of these niches are, and that you probably would never even think of them without a tool like this.
Absolutely. My personal favorite is the dog motorcycles, which Kim has been laughing about for the last few days. So to open any of these up in Amazon, you just need to press the 3 dots and the puzzle, and it'll pop open. So I've already done that here. And this was my favorite that we found, and it's you know, the title is self-explanatory. It's a dog helmet. So I'll quickly just show you my favorite image. It's this one here.
Oh no.
As you can see, this is a really visual niche, and it's got a lot of what we call gas factor, which is, mind my French, but it stands for give a shit. That people really care about their animals, their dogs, and they're probably going to spend a little bit more time looking for a cool helmet that their dog's going to wear. So this was one of the options, but we're not going to go into it today purely because the niche score is a little bit low. So the 3 that we're going to let you guys choose from, they all have a healthier niche score. So Kim, do you want to pop the poll?
Yeah, well, I've just started that now. Not as exciting as dog helmets for motorcycles,
Yeah.
but these are viable. Well, from the initial figures we're looking at, they look viable. So the next stage would be to try and validate that further. So we've got what's called book bins, and you might not know what those are. So if you wouldn't mind expanding out the book bins niche, we can see some. Oh, even better.
Yeah.
They remind me of primary school where you put the little, and the colours. So, and then we've got cat wall shelves, which for all our cat owners out there, they're things that you screw into the wall basically for cats to play with.
This is a really interesting one because look how many different designs there are. So if you compare this niche with this niche, they're all, the book bins are all pretty much the same, which may give opportunity to come up with a new design. Whereas cat wall shelf, if you look at them, there's so much room for creativity here because they're really tailoring to what your cat wants, what you want in your house. Do you want it on the wall? Do you want it on the ground? Do you want like a little house for them, or do you just want some shelves? There's so many options for this niche, and that's why it's a cool one.
100%, yeah. And then last but not least, we have the fondue set. So definitely a flashback to the 80s. I think that's when that was super popular. But I've noticed this is starting to make a little bit of a resurgence.
It's doing well, this niche, yeah.
It is,
We've got open. The average monthly sales is around 15,000, so it's quite healthy.
Yeah, it is, and I've noticed they're kind of changing its use. So chocolate, it can be for cheese, and then I've seen ones for like s'mores and all different sorts of uses. Which is, it's always cool when you find a product that has a multi-use aspect to it, because you're tapping into different buyers. So let us know which one appeals to you the most in terms of, do you want to see how we go about validating or not any red flags for any of these ones. But
So just a reminder also that all four of these niches, but the three we're going to focus on, these were all ideas generated through the niche finder. We didn't go out and look for these any other way. These are all very viable ideas that we've just purely found through niche finder, and then opened up and kind of already had ZonGuru do the hard lifting for us to give us, a score and validating for the product. So what we do next for this is to apply our human touch to the data and kind of think about it a little bit more like a human, and in terms of how we can come into these niches and also differentiate after we've validated the data.
Yeah, perfect. And some of the other cool niches we found that didn't quite make our cut. Yeah, I personally really liked the heated water bowl. I hadn't seen that.
Well, absolutely.
But I just thought it's such, there was one there that was being done really well. So they all kind of looked a bit basic, but there was one where it was a really streamlined aesthetic. I could see it being used in a fancy loft apartment. It didn't have the chunky cable cord attached to it.
The one thing that kind of does worry me about a niche like this, which may be a red flag, is that it is electric, which 100%. Means you have to plug it in, which is if you're sourcing these from China, you don't really know how long the thing's going to last for, do you, if you're plugging it into a wall. So that's something to keep in mind with this and the fondue set, that they are electric products, and typically electric products have maybe a little bit more difficult to have quality control over.
Yeah, definitely. And with the different power requirements in each country meeting the standards that you need to be able to sell in that marketplace, that can be an extra issue. But if you're willing to tackle that, that's obviously a barrier to entry for other sellers. So, your might be a bit harder, but it's going to be harder for everybody else too. So it's a bit of a balancing act with that one.
Yeah, so how are the results looking in the poll?
So Book Bins is the clear winner at this stage, which really surprises me.
Yeah.
But the other two we had on there were Snuffle Mat and was it the tennis ball hopper? Okay. And so these are ones where I didn't know what they were.
Right.
Yeah, so the Snuffle Mat is for your dogs, I think, where they go foraging, and you hide treats in these mats, and it's a bit of a game for them.
Yeah, it's almost like when you see your dog on grass and it likes to roll over on its back and kind of
Yeah.
It almost looks like that's what they would use it for.
Yeah, so I didn't know what that was, but that was quite a healthy one too. The pet category in general is quite good because people they're part of the family. They're willing to spend money on their animals' health, well-being, and happiness. So it's quite a good category. It's usually lightweight, no moving parts. It's rare to have too many electronics in there. So they're generally things that make niches really attractive to me. I don't want to be paying oversized storage fees. I don't want to be paying ridiculous amounts on shipping because it's a bulky, heavy product. I want something lightweight, sturdy, not fragile, no moving parts, not electronic. That usually is what I'm looking for. But again, yeah, everyone's different.
Alrighty, so let's get into this book bin and kind of open up the Google Chrome extension. So this is the extension we have that opens up when you're live on Amazon. And now for anyone new out there or anyone who's just starting out in general, make sure whenever you're doing product research, this is so important, that you change the address to an American address. Because if you have an Australian or a European shipping address to Amazon US, it's gonna it's going to filter your results based on what's eligible to ship there. So always make sure that you apply American address. Next thing, we've got the Google Chrome extension, which we can just simply open up like this. And you'll notice here we have the niche score and the niche rainbow, which is a really, really unique feature of ZonGuru. And this is what Kimberly touched on briefly before, and I'll just go a little bit more in depth. So first we have buyer demand, and that's determined on the search volume of the product and also how many organic sales there are for the product. Next is competition opportunity, and that's judged upon the listing strength and how many of these competitors are using things like EBC, which is enhanced brand content, which means that they're a trademark brand. Investment sweet spot, so that's based on the sweet spot that we believe to be between 10 to 15,000 US dollars. So the closer we are to that amount, the higher the percentage. And revenue potential is the revenue and profit generated within the niche. So with any of these figures here, the higher is the better for any of them. So we can see here for this niche, investment sweet spot is really good, buyer demand is good, but competition opportunity is 32%. Which means that a lot of these sellers are using strong keywords in their listing, and they're using things like EBC, so it may be harder to compete. Same with revenue potential, and that's because the monthly revenue average is 11,000. So it's okay, but if you're making 11,000 and about 30% of that is profit, that's around 3,000 profit a month. Which the revenue potential takes into consideration. Next up, you can see here in the Google Chrome extension is the search volume. And that's the exact amount of searches per month for this keyword right here, which is book bins. Monthly sales, so that's the average monthly sales within this niche. The price, so that's the average price within this niche, and that's really healthy, $30 is great. Ratings, 1,000. So ratings was previously known as reviews. But 1,000 ratings is typically a little bit higher, but I would never let that completely put you off. So rating is 4.6, which is out of 5 stars, the average is 4.6. Monthly revenue is 11,400 average, and launch budget, which is how much it's going to cost you to launch this product and be on page 1 for 3 months. So these are our key metrics, and that's the data that ZonGuru and the software provides you, but it's up to you whether or not you think that you can come into this niche and differentiate. So again, competition opportunities only on the kind of listing strength and EBC. It doesn't take into consideration things like design, colors, packaging, things that you've included in your images. So it takes that kind of human touch to look at the data and then think, what can I do in this niche to make my product stand out? All of these I can see are plastic. They're all these, really bright colors, probably because they're going to be for kids. But if you go onto somewhere like Pinterest or Google Images and type in book bin ideas or something like that, I'm sure you can come up with other designs. But back to the Chrome extension, we can actually see all the individual products. And if you hover over one, it shows you which one it is. It shows you the data and it shows you the revenue that that product is generating, which is super, super cool. And if you look over at the 1, 2, and 3, it even highlights which listing is the most clicked on listing in that niche, which is so critical for us to know, what hero shot is working, what image is driving that click. So that's super cool. It also says EBC. So EBC is enhanced brand content, and that basically is only eligible for sellers that have a trademark, and you get loads of benefits, like including a video, including more lifestyle imagery underneath your listing, where there will typically be a product description. And that's really, really helpful, and it's a no-brainer if you're selling on Amazon. It also shows you which ones are ads, which is handy. And looking at the data, what we can do is list it from high to low. So by clicking on revenue, we can actually rank it from high to low. So we can see that this product here, which is a different style of book bin, is doing 218,000 a month, which is awesome to know. So we can actually do it from high to low, and you can do that for any of these criteria here. You can do it for price, so you can see which ones are the highest priced. You can even do it for sales, so you can do it for anything. And one more really cool feature of the Chrome extension is by clicking on the 3 lines there, you can open up the filter. Now, the filter lets you put in any criteria you want to show up within the extension. So if we want to see only the big hitters, if we want to see the products that are dominating in this niche, we can put in minimum revenue 20,000, and we can filter that. And you can see here, these are the only ones doing over 20,000. So we can look at their listings, and at any time you can click and open them up in a new tab. And you can kind of start gathering information about what's working, right? You can start gathering about where the people are buying, and it's important to take notes of what these sellers are doing well. But that's the Google Chrome extension, guys, and it's a no-brainer tool. What we can actually do is go out and reset. So we can get rid of that, go back to where we were, and look at all of the products in this niche. That's basically how to use the Google Chrome extension to validate a niche. So ZonGuru has provided you with the data, and then it's up to you to come up with ideas and apply that creativity to see what you can do in the niche that can visually differentiate, which is just critical.
Yeah, awesome.
Anything you want to add, Kim?
I just thought it was interesting. I'm looking at the category that these products are listing in, and some are showing office products, and some were showing home and
there's even baby here.
Yeah. So when you go to list a product on Amazon, it's really important to get your category right, because if Amazon doesn't know where to place you, or they connect you to the wrong keywords, it can really mess up the traffic that would otherwise be flowing to your listing. So I noticed on the top 3 clicked listings, 2 of them were office products and 1 was home and kitchen. So my mind would be saying that if 2 of the 3 top competitors in this area are in office products, I'd want mine to be in office products too. I just thought that that's probably a big mistake some are making, in that they've just put themselves in the wrong selling category. So they're harder to find.
Yeah, great point. Absolutely.
Yeah, just interesting. And you'll be surprised the little nuances you come across when using the Chrome extension, that the seller probably doesn't even realize that they're listed in the baby goods category, for example. So yeah, super interesting. And the Chrome extension just sits quietly in the corner, ready to give you all the information you need. You don't need to navigate away from this page. It will just sit there. I'm really happy you clicked on the Alibaba link too, because we actually had a question come through in the chat from Ian, basically saying, how do you design a product and have it produced? So another little handy tool on the extension is that if you're looking at a niche, you can click on the little orange Alibaba source on Alibaba button, and we'll give you a link to suppliers who are providing these goods. So you can get an idea of what the price point is. Within the ZonGuru platform itself, we have Easy Source, which is basically that on steroids. You get to filter what country.
I'm about to touch on that. You can literally from here click, you see more on Easy Source, and this will open up straight within ZonGuru, and it'll have this whole niche and all of the products and what's available from suppliers on Alibaba displayed, at the click of your fingers. So really, really strong tool for in the moment also gathering, roughly how much money you can make. If these are selling theirs for, I see a few here for 60, a few for 13, a few for 25. If we look over here, you can get this box one, which is maybe similar to this, different materials, $21.47, for $2.50. So already we're talking about, $18, $19, whatever it is left over. And then given, FBA fees also taken from that, it still shows that $2.50 and they're selling it for $22 almost. So there's definitely room to make some healthy margin.
And the Chrome extension just gives you a quick taste of the suppliers available. On Easy Source itself, you get a much more in-depth look. So the idea is that those are the suppliers around making these types of products. So if you have a design in mind, that's where you start. You reach out to them, make that connection. You don't have to have exactly what they're selling. A lot are really open to customizing it. So you might say, hey, I really like that black box, but I want to have a space for the label on the front. I want it to have a handle.
I want to get color. Like you can
totally
pattern. You can almost record anything.
Yeah, it's more of it gives you a taste of what that supplier is able to produce, and then you can go from there and really customize it to your heart's content.
Totally.
So Ian,
I
was just going to say, so Ian, what I would do is, find a few niches that are really appealing to you, start that validation process, look at how you might do it differently, and then start reaching out to those suppliers and starting that discussion. If you have a really complex product idea, sometimes it's a good idea to get, a brief prepared or some sort of design plan so that you can really communicate what you're looking for, and it can cut down a lot of time. And you can find people to help you with that, whether it's on Upwork or Fiverr, or there's so many professionals in their field out there wanting little side jobs, and they're more than happy to jump on and help you.
Absolutely. Just one thing before we move on and open this up for Q&A, I just wanted to touch on also that there's the ability to add any of these into SalesSpy. And SalesSpy is another tool within ZonGuru where you can basically find out the seasonality of a product. So you can go back for a whole year and see a graph of how well this product sells all year round. So obviously that's a great way to find out if this product spikes, for Christmas, or if it spikes, I don't know, in the middle of the year or
when school goes back or something. Yeah.
It's a great way to also straight away you can add these into SalesSpy, where you have them within ZonGuru, and then you can start tracking how well they sell. Not right now, but for long periods of time to know that it's a reliable product with reliable spread out demand all year round.
Eric, I've just got a quick question for you. Would you think that this is a viable niche? Like, would this be one? I'm just trying to think of it for myself. Would this be one that I'd be willing to go into?
So for me, I look at this and the price is great. There's decent search volume, but I would need to validate it even further. So what worries me a little bit is that the monthly revenue is 11,000, because remember that's the average, and the average can be skewed by some products like this one here, which may not be exactly relevant. So I would require to do a little bit to validate this a little bit deeper. I would, for example, look at these ones. I would open them all up. I'd take note of what they're all doing in terms of revenue. So I can do that by adding the main ones into SalesSpy. And then if I do think that there's steady revenue all year round, I would certainly start looking, one, how much they cost from the supplier, and two, how can I differentiate this? How can I make mine stand out? How can I change the design or add value or, make it better than the competitors, really?
100%. A nice little tip, and you touched on it perfectly with that first one. It's an Amazon branded product. It's pulling in huge numbers. if you untick the box on the right, it will actually remove it from the calculation above. So you can go through, and you're totally right, that's just dropped the monthly revenue down even further. So from my perspective, the numbers stack up in terms of, I think it would be a relatively easy niche to break into, start making a little bit of money, but it's not going to be in my golden goose that just takes me from
a good beginner's niche, to be
exactly
honest. The launch budget's low. It's not going to be ridiculous volume where you may run out of stock quickly. It's one of those ones where you can order a conservative amount and you can kind of learn the ropes of Amazon without spending, without spending your hard-earned saved money into something.
And I think it might be a nice one. I love the idea of creating brands, because when you create a brand, you're creating a really valuable asset that people are willing to pay big bucks for. You've done the hard work, you've created the brand loyalty. So maybe if someone wanted to go into that space of being an office or a school supply brand, where it's like you've got your book bins, maybe you have like tidy trade.
A little branding sticker at the front, kids or whatever you want to your brand to, obviously the target market.
And have a suite of products under that brand, and this is just part of it, because although the monthly revenue is on the lower side, if you had 5 different products pulling that sort of revenue, then you're talking about something that's super attractive. So it's not looking at it on the tunnel vision level. It's how can we build this? What can we make with it? But definitely an interesting one.
Completely agree. And within my own business, I have one product that's doing the bulk of the revenue, and I have 2 other products that are doing, between 2,000 and 5,000 revenue. So there's nothing wrong with having those products that are generating a little bit less revenue, but it's still contributing, to your
100%.
overall turnover. It's still making you more money than that money would be making you if it was sitting in the bank.
Couldn't agree more.
So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and we can jump into
awesome. So we've had another question. So that was the US market. Everything we've done today is based on the US. If you're looking at Australia, the Chrome extension still works in Australia. You can still use Salesby. So everything that Eric just did then, you can apply to the Australian market. And Stephen's just asked, is there a way to download from Salesby into Excel? So we can't download from Salesby into Excel just yet. If you wanted to, you can add it as an improvement suggestion through what we call the voice of the customer, because I have had that come up quite a few times before, and I can see how it would be relevant. But you can export data from the Chrome extension to Excel. You can filter it and change it however you want and feed that information through. So that's quite helpful. Salesby is more of your visual representation. So it shows you the graph over a period of time. I understand some of us are data orientated, and that may be where the export from the Chrome extension fits your needs a little bit better.
Totally. We've got Julie here, and she's asking about main keywords to use for PPC, if they should be exact match or phrase match. And the question is that the answer is that PPC is kind of, everyone kind of has their own methodology around it. But what I would do is actually try both. So you can have a phrase for exact match, have a keyword for exact match, have that same keyword as a phrase, whether it be a long tail or a short tail, and you can start collecting data. So put a budget on each one, start collecting data, then you'll find out which one converts better. So PPC, a lot of it is trial and error also.
We've actually got a really handy video series coming out next week, which deals a lot with PPC. And our CTO, Stefan, is a master at PPC, and he's actually putting together his guide on how he approaches it. And it's exactly that. So it's you dial in to your metrics, and if it's working, put more spend on it. If it's not, change what you're doing. But there's
definitely valuable.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, is the brand name can be used for different category products?
Certainly can. So that is that's to do with your brand. So when you register a brand, depending on what country you're in, it's all done a different way. But basically, you specify what your brand name relates to, for example. So you can have multiple selling categories that it covers. It's not limited to, if you're just selling water bottles, doesn't have to be just water bottles. It can be for whatever you set that brand name up for.
Yeah, and a lot of people do say that what you can do is come up with a brand name that it's kind of a broader brand name that allows multiple things in.
Yeah.
On my brand, because it's a very specific set of products, I've specified my brand name to almost relate and almost describe the products, but it's definitely also viable if you want to create more of a general brand. You can create, a brand name like, for example, what IKEA have done. It doesn't really mean anything, it's just a word, but they sell, everything under the moon. So you can absolutely create a brand name and use it for different products, different categories, and
I think it's just important to make sure you stay relevant to your ideal customer. So if you're selling water bottles and outdoor adventure goods and things, having a brand name that relates to that, but then it probably wouldn't be relevant if you started selling baby products. You want to make sure that it attracts the customers that you're wanting.
You also tailor it to how broad you want to go with what you're doing. Exactly. Just an outdoor brand is pretty broad. You can sell from bike tires to a tent.
Yeah.
So,
but if your brand name was Water Bottles Are Us, it would be not wise to. So hopefully that helps. But so any questions you've got, just shoot them through. We're here to help where we can.
Right, guys, send them through. We're here. We've got another 10 minutes to answer questions. So if anyone's brave, you can even jump on. You can jump on and speak with us. But we've got 10 minutes, guys. Ask us anything you need, anything that you may be struggling with right now, specific to yourself. We can help you.
Yeah, and how you're going collecting those niche ideas. If anyone's getting ready to delve in, 2021's just around the corner. Get in those products, ideas ready so that you can, a lot of us have a bit more time over the holidays, time away from our full-time jobs where we can really get stuck in and get those working.
That's correct, Ian. So your brand name will be your store name.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you're brand registered, you'd have the ability to create an Amazon storefront, and it's a place where you can showcase all your products at once. That's just one of the features that you get from being brand registered.
Any last questions, guys?
It's been awesome to see the questions coming through. We really love hearing from you guys. And we know there's a little bit of a delay, so we'll...
Here we go. I think it might seem better.
That's correct, Stephen. So the Chrome extension will give you the most up-to-date data on how a product is trending right now on Amazon. So Sales Spy is your look-back approach, where you can set the time frame to say, hey, I want to look at the 30-day trend, the 6 months, or even the year trend for this product. Whereas the Chrome extension is, what is it doing right now?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't see that in the Sales Spy, that there is the ability to change it for, it can be 7 days, 30 days, 6 months, and 12 months. So, yeah.
And Beck, I feel for you. I have had that happen to me where I think this happens to every seller.
We've had that challenge, I think.
Yeah, and it can be for a number of reasons. Sometimes you might be competing on those really short keywords, those really high volume, punchy keywords that everybody's kind of going for. And I find when that happens with me, the more I focus on those longer tailed keywords, the more success I have. And once I start seeing results with that, then Amazon will start to favor me for those smaller ones, and I can start dialing into those more on my PPC. So it's a long-term game.
I would also consider what you're actually what you're bidding for each one. So if you're bidding really low, you might only be showing up on page 3, and by that time they've already looked at the 2 first pages and they've posted something. So I get a little bit aggressive with PPC, where I like to bid, so I'm always on page 1. It may cost a little bit more, but if you're starting to pick up more sales and more sales velocity, then again, Amazon will start ranking you organically on page 1. So it's almost needs to be a long-term approach where you might be losing a little bit, but just to build that sales velocity, get those reviews, get a few runs on the board, and then you can start dialing it down and specifying a little bit more. Yeah. So that's also something to consider, that you can get more aggressive and bid a little bit higher.
100%. And making sure that you've set yourself up for success. So you're bidding on these keywords, you're putting your listing front and center. Make sure that your hero image is really attention grabbing. Make sure that your title has everything in there that you need to really get people to click on it, because you might be appearing, but people might just not be clicking.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Julie, when you analyze your listing, what is a score to aim for, and how do you get that into your listing?
That's a great question, Julie. So listing score is the strength of your listing, and it takes in so many different factors. I like to see personally mine above 7, which adding things like video, really high quality, using all your photos, that helps a lot.
Title, your biggest, your punch keywords in your title is so important as well.
Yeah, so Chris, absolutely. Terminology is really important. So he's got the example, would a search for book bins return a different set of products than bins book? And it does. And this is where optimizing your listing and using a tool like Keywords on Fire really helps, because Keywords on Fire will give you a list of keywords people are using to search for your product type. And by inserting those keywords cleverly into your listing copy, you can make sure you're optimized for both, that you show for all sorts of variations of keyword phrases.
Definitely. Okay, so Stefan was open.
Awesome, Beck. Yeah. So if you're on the front page, but you're not getting the clicks, maybe there's something just that you can just dial into and hook people in. You're 99% of the way there. You've done the...
I would definitely look at the hero shot at that point. The hero shot, yeah.
And you can always test the hero shot, change it for a week, see if it works, change it back.
Add packaging in, you can do all types of different things to add something that's a little bit different.
Yeah. So Nina, I would recommend registering your brand as early in the piece as possible, because it takes quite a while. I'm not sure where you're dialing in from. In Australia, it's 4 to 6 months just to get it through. So as soon as you know your brand name and things are starting to go to production, or even before then, get on the brand name registration.
ASAP, just so important, because you have such a big advantage with EBC and video.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It may take a while. You may launch without it, but just make sure you're in the process to get it as soon as possible, which is actually a good way to look at if you launch without it and you're already doing all right, and then you get your brand, your trademark coming through, and you apply it. It's a great way to then just see your bye.
Yeah, and I tend to think it dissuades others from potentially copying you a little bit more, because they know that your brand is trademarked. They know that you're a bit more on your game, and might not be as an easy target to copy. Awesome, Chris. So Hannah, the Chrome extension is changing. Yes, so the Chrome extension will change very regularly. So what you're looking to do on the Chrome extension is see how it's tracking right now, but plug a couple of the ASNs into SalesFly to see how it tracks over time, so you can get a feel for seasonality. Are you dealing with a product that spikes during certain months of the year? So you'll get both perspectives, and it's putting all those puzzle pieces into place to go, yes, this product meets what I'm looking for. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of seasonality. It depends on the seller. Some people make all their money in 1 month of the year. It depends on the seller.
I know people that sell seasonal Christmas products, and in Q4 they do hundreds of thousands just for Christmas products. So.
It's quite crazy. Yeah, same with Halloween.
Yeah.
There's so many.
It's just not the long-term vision, though. That's the thing. So it depends. There's opportunity there, but what we try to teach is we're trying to build a real business that's going to have sustainable results, not just for 1 or 2 months, but for multiple years, where you can rely on this as an income stream, to support you and your family. So
100%. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So we are getting up to the hour now. We might have time for a couple last questions if they come through. But otherwise, guys, it might be time to wrap it up. Let us know any last second questions.
And if anyone ever does book bins, please let us know. We like seeing it when the idea gets floated and then taken to market.
Promoting your brand.
Thanks, Julie. That's really nice.
So Chris, a registered product trademark, I think what you mean there is a patent. So yes, a brand trademark is probably going to be for your brand name. So IKEA, for example, that word is trademarked. You own that. You're the only one that can sell anything under that name. So that's different, yes, to a registered product patent where no one can copy that product.
And there's different types of patents. So you can have design patents. I'm not an IP lawyer, but you know, there's how it looks, how it functions. If it's there's all different processes. But the business trademarks your first point of call.
Alrighty, guys, that's it. We've hit the hour mark. So thank you so much for your time today. We hope that you guys go out there and kill it on Amazon.
Julie, last question. Yes, you can. Absolutely.
There we go. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world.
Okay.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
See you guys.